The battle for the victory here at Portimao in the Champions of the Future Euro Series 2022 is about to get underway. The drivers are heading out onto the circuit and we are in for an amazing spectacle. You've tuned in at exactly the right moment. It is time for the final in OK Senior here in Portimao. The Portuguese sunshine has greeted us in fantastic fashion and with exceptional timing. The drivers will get to have an incredible battle and an amazing duel. 36 of the best kart racers from around the world will now get to go on center stage here on the main circuit in the shadow of the Formula One venue at Portimao, as these guys can now go to battle to claim the first final of the Champions of the Future Euro Series 2022. And these drivers really have come from all four corners of the globe. 64 senior competitors started the weekend, just 36 remain, and they will all battle and quest for the first victory of the 2022 Euro Series campaign. It's been a very tight battle all the way through the weekend, and multiple drivers have had their turn at the front, so it's definitely going to be an exciting quest to see who will come out at the front end of the pack. But these drivers are ready. They come from all four corners of the globe, as I mentioned, and they are all going to be pushing tooth and nail. 20 laps of this circuit, that is the equivalent of 30.6 kilometers of racing, a couple of millimeters off the ground, at average speeds of near on 100 kilometers an hour after a full-length race. These are the best men and women racers in the world. Phenomenal talent and incredible ability. In our senior category in particular, these guys and girls have been working so hard throughout the weekend. The 36 best racers will now make their way to the starting grid. But it's been quite a tough challenge for all of them. They know just how difficult it's been. They have battled wind and rain throughout the entirety of the 3-4 days build up to this. But now the final will signal the greatest racers of this discipline. This is the premier pinnacle category for direct drive karting in the world. And 2 weeks from now, these same teams and drivers will be questing victory in the first round of the FIA Karting European Championship. This is an exceptional warm-up for that. And the Champions of the Future Euro Series will greet some amazing drivers. This man will start from pole position. Artem Severukin for the Ward Racing team. An impressive performance from him so far. Consistency, speed and dexterity all the way throughout the weekend. After topping his group in the qualifying session, he really has been phenomenal. But there has been another man. Another man has given the quest all the way throughout. Matias Morgado of Brazil for the DPK Racing team aboard the Alonso kart. It's a new dawn and a new era for him. He could claim it all. From second on the starting grid, he has already taken the lead a couple of times on the outside of that row. On the second row of the starting grid, this man has a chance to do it all over again. Thomas Stolchemanis. He claimed the Winter Series at Franciacorta last month. He'll want to claim the first round of the Euro Series right here in Portimao. And the Latvian for Energy course is going to be starting on the inside of the second row. A great position to be. But the man alongside him, Ian Eichmans, has just as good a chance of fighting forward. For the Eichmans Grand Prix team, aboard his Tony kart, never count out Ian Eichmans. With that kind of firepower, he could win the entire final. So 4 very strong men in the first 4 positions. Severukin, Morgado, Stolchemanis and Eichmans. 5th position on the starting grid, Luigi Coluccio, the heir to the mantle of the Italian prowess of Tony kart. Very much in the shadow and the afterthought of Marco Ardigo, Luigi Coluccio leads his troops into turn 1. It's been an incredible weekend for Luigi Coluccio. He will be there. But what about this youngster, David Walter, for the Koski Motorsport team, the Danish driver in his first weekend in Champions of the Future as a senior, and he's right up at the fast end of the field. And after being pole position in timed qualifying as well, he was the fastest outright. An incredible performance. 7th on the grid for Ward Racing, Oscar Pedersen, the Swedish talent, has definitely been showcasing rapid speed and immense consistency. Anything is possible for him from the inside of row 4. He gets an amazing opportunity to charge his way from the front. However, there is one man who you can never underestimate, Joe Turney. Crack his arm open. It reads Tony Kart like Blackpool Rock. And this boy has every opportunity to storm through for an amazing victory. On the 5th row of the starting grid, we have an incredible pair of young talents who could change the future face of motor racing. The reigning world champion, Tuukka Tarpanen, 9th on the grid for Finland. His second year in OK Senior. He's already stormed through from a low position to take a heat win or two. Now it's time to do it in the final. And he's from the inside of that 5th row of the grid. From the outside row, a man with serious potential, the Jamaican sensation. The AMG Mercedes F1 Junior, Alex Powell for the Kart Republic Motorsport team. His time is surely coming. Perhaps it's going to be today. That is an immense top 10. Severukin, Morgato, Stochamanis, Eichmanns, Coluccio, Walter, Pedersen, Turney, Tarpanen and Powell. On the 6th row of the starting grid, the man who made this place his home 18 months ago, Freddie Slater, the junior world champion back in 2020 on this very course. He knows every inch of it, and he now wants to take his first OK Senior win here in Champions of the Future. What a chance for him from the 6th row of the grid. The British talent with an immense opportunity. 12th position on the grid, the Frenchman Enzo De Linhi, very much under the tutelage and patronage of the double world champion Lorenzo Travasanuto. But the Paralin Motorsport team's youngest and brightest new star in OK Senior has every chance of cracking the podium at the bare minimum. An incredible array of drivers up at the sharp end of the field, and there's even more further down the field because you have on the 7th row of the grid Juho Valtonen and Jan Puchu, the Finn and the Chinese driver. Maxime Rem will be on the 8th row of the grid for Germany alongside the Frenchman Malo Bollier. On the 9th row we will have Dion Gauda for Singapore and Rintaro Sato for Japan, both drivers racing under a British license these days. Christian Bratuka will be on the 10th row of the grid alongside Max Orlov. There is the race director, Martin Bean, overseeing all of the drivers in the field. And it's up to him as to how this race plays out and how it goes. Great to see the fans at the side of the racetrack as well, enjoying the spectacle of this incredible sport. On the 11th row of the grid, just outside the top 20, Kia Nakamura Berta, the reigning junior world champion, now a senior, alongside Matias Ferreira, the Brazilian, who is a newly signed up member of the Alpine Academy. Max Popov will line up on the 12th row of the starting grid alongside Nicolo Kuman, the very talented Forza Racing youngster. Zachary David from Malta will line up on the 13th row of the grid alongside the ultra-impressive Japanese new boy to the field, Hiyu Yamakoshi in the Praga. Keanu Adazari and Yavan David will be the young man from Dubai and the young man from Sri Lanka, who line up on the 14th row of the grid for Tony Kart and Birolart respectively. On the 15th row, it will be Rashid Al-Daheri, having freshly moved to the Forza Racing team on the X-Bridge chassis, alongside Adrian Maliero of Spain, who will be there on row 15. In the final 6 positions on the grid, we will have Simone Bianco, the Italian for Koski Motorsport, Gabriel Gomez for Brazil on the CRG, Caspian Hagman for Sweden for the Ward Racing team, alongside Finland's Luca Samalisto for Kart Republic. On the back row of the grid, it will be France's Arthur Rojon in his Kart Republic, alongside the last man in for Poland and for Birolart, Karol Pazovic. 36 of the best racing drivers at this level in the world. And when you are a couple of millimeters off the ground, charging around this course, heading for the front end of the field, he really doesn't quite get the recognition and the spectacle that it deserves from time to time. But this sport really is full of kings and queens, incredible warriors and athletes at this level. It puts so much intensity and pounding on the body. This is not just a get in, put your foot down and go. You have to be physically, mentally, and psychologically ready to take on this task. You've got to be one of the best if you want to make the final. You've got to be one of the absolute best to get on that podium. For my money, there are about 12 drivers who could win this final. About 24 who could reach the podium. It's all about guts, determination, commitment, guile, and discipline. So who is going to get there? Artem Severukin on the left of your picture in pole position. Alongside him, Matias Morgato of Brazil. in the DPK Alonso kart. Here we go, the OK Senior Final in the Champions of the Future Euro Series, the opening round of the season. The final is upon us. An outlap and a formation lap, and then we go to battle. Artem Severukin from Matthias Morgato, Thomas Stolchemanis and Ian Eichmans, Luigi Coluccio and David Walter from Oscar Pedersen, Joe Turney, Tuka Tarpanen and Alex Powell starting in the top 10. Then it is Freddie Slater, Enzo De Linhi, Juha Valtonen and Jan Puchu. From Maxime Rem, Malo Bollier, Dion Gauda and Rintaro Sato, Christian Bertuka and Max Orlov. Then Kian Nakamura Berta alongside Matthias Ferreira from Max Popov and Nicolo Kuman. Zachary David, Hio Yamakoshi, Keanu Balazari, Yevan David, Rashid Aldeheri, Adrian Mariero, Simone Bianco, Gabriel Gomez, Caspian Hagman, Lucas Samalisto, Arthur Rojon and Karol Pazovic. So after the qualifying heats, obviously the drivers will score points based on how they have done in the qualifying heats. The first 21 points of the season go the way of Artem Severukin. He has 21 points in the championship table. Matthias Morgato with 17. Thomas Stolchemanis has 14. Ian Eichmans has 12. Luigi Coluccio with 11. David Walter with 10. And that goes all the way down to 15th place, which is Maxime Rem on 1 point. However, that is just from the qualifying heats. There are going to be more points on offer for the final. And this will be the first of 4 weekends, of course, in the Champions of the Future Euro Series, with 1 dropped score. So they are allowed to drop their worst qualifying heat performance of the year and their worst final of the year. So we're going to have a great battle all the way till Franciacorta in June to see who will claim the Champions of the Future Euro Series 2022. But Artem Severukin, pole position in the first final of the year, means he leads the championship by 4 points to Matthias Morgato, 7 ahead of Stolchemanis, 9 ahead of Eichmans, and 10 ahead of Luigi Coluccio. So let's see how this incredible season plays out. It's definitely going to be very close from the get-go, and all of the drivers will be questing for the top spot in this immense final. Severukin, Morgato, Stolchemanis and Eichmans, Coluccio and Walter, Pedersen and Turney, Tarpanen and Powell, from Slater, De Linhi, Valtonen, Chu, Rem and Bollier, all the way down to Karol Pazovic at the tail of the field. There is the race starter, Martin Bean. Are we going to go racing? Yes, we do! Let's race at Portimao! Up to the first corner. Great start for Severukin, Stolchemanis and Coluccio. They get the run that they wanted on the inside line. Morgato is going to have to try and get himself into the top 5 from around the outside. He squeezes in just in between Eichmans and Pedersen, I think that is. So a terrific start from Morgato in the end. He only loses 2 places. Everybody else tries to make their way through. Nice and clean through the hairpin. Looks as though they've managed that. So Artem Severukin leads the way. In second is Thomas Stolchemanis, and in third it is Luigi Coluccio, the vice world champion. Morgato holds it together in 4th place. 5th position, that looks to me like Oscar Pedersen. So a very good start for the Ward Racing driver. And the 251 doing a very exceptional job at the moment in front of Eichmans and Turney. Bring on the battle. They're going to do this 19 more times around the course. And who is going to make the best impression on this final? We will find out as the race plays out. Severukin, Stolchemanis, Coluccio, Morgato, Pedersen, Eichmans, Turney, De Linhi, Tarpanen and Walter. So a very clean start, a very eager one for several drivers in the field. Enzo De Linhi makes up 4 places. Jan Pichu makes up 2. And Keanu Balazari has made up 6. Simone Bianco has made up 9. So some great performances in the field as several drivers are already on the warpath. So some good overtaking moves are bound to come in this one. Joe Turney is only 7th at the moment. He will not be content to stay there. And after his performance last month at Franciacorta, he's already going for it on the inside of Eichmans and goes in with De Linhi. So Turney and De Linhi both make light work of Ian Eichmans. That puts Turney into 6th, De Linhi into 7th. And Eichmans, the Belgian, remains in the top 10 in front of the reigning world champion Tuka Tarpanen and the new boy on the block, David Walter. The Severukin leads by 0.8 of a second. Is he going to dominate here from Stolchemanis, or is Coluccio going to give him some support and go with him? Morgato is still in the hunt as well in 4th place. As up the inside, that is David Walter. Now, I think that's him keeping his position to Freddie Slater rather than gaining one. Up the inside, a big slide from Oscar Pedersen. He gets in on Matthias Morgato. That is going to impede the Brazilian's charge. Definitely not as easy this time as it has been across the heats. So Matthias Morgato has got a long way to go before he can get back on the podium. He's in P5 at the moment. So there's very much a lot of work to do here. Artem Severukin is now 9/10 of a second ahead of Thomas Stolchemanis as we watch the battle in the top 6. That is Enzo De Linhi tucking in behind Joe Turney once again, hoping for an opportunity to go by. Severukin, Stolchemanis, Coluccio, Pedersen, Morgato, Turney, De Linhi, Eichmanns, Walter and Tarpanen in the top 10. Freddie Slater trying to work his way through. Malo Bollier has managed to get past the Jamaican Alex Powell. As they go through, starting their way through on the first part of the lap. And on the inside, that is Freddie Slater. He makes his move on the reigning world champion. A pair of FIA karting world champions there. Freddie Slater, the junior world champion right here in 2020, and took a Tarpanen last year, the senior world champion at Campillos. And Zachary David has been given a warning flag. Unfortunately, that will come with a 5-second penalty. Up the inside goes David Walter. He takes his move to get through past Tarpanen. Powell manages to jump on him as well. Great move from Alex Powell. Pure opportunism. And he makes the place. So Tarpanen is down to 13th after all of that. Not a great start to the final for the Finn. But he's on the back foot already, trying to make his way up through the field in terms of decent progress. He's really going to struggle. But Artem Severukin leads Thomas Stolchemanis by 1.1 seconds. Matthias Morgato has pressure now from Enzo De Linhi, with Turney up to 5th place. There goes De Linhi, gets through on the inside of the Brazilian. So Matthias Morgato, unfortunately, losing ground, while Artem Severukin is just pulling away up front. Stolchemanis 2nd, Coluccio in 3rd. I don't think anybody really expected Artem Severukin to be quite so dominant so early on in the race, because he has managed to pull 1.3 seconds clear, and this is only lap 5. Severukin, Stolchemanis, Coluccio, Pedersen and Turney. That's your top 5. De Linhi still running well in P6 at the moment. On the inside, thank you very much indeed for the gap, says David Walter. Gets through on Matthias Morgato, and behind them, that is Freddie Slater, having moved his way up into 9th place. The British driver following in the footsteps of his compatriot Joe Turney, who is currently in the top 5. But as I said before, this race is about patience and discipline. It's not won in the first 5 laps. You've got to be so careful. You've got to look after the tyres. You've got to wait for those other drivers around you to start to have issues. Severukin may be leading by 1.4, which is a big gap in karting, but there is a long way to go. 15 laps left in this senior final. So you've obviously got to be very dedicated and very focused for the entirety of. He pulls the gap to 1.6. But as I was talking to Freddie Slater in the interim before the final, he said to me, this race isn't going to be won in the first 10 laps. It's going to be won in the final 4. You've got to be there and be present at the front end of the field. You've got to look after your tyres, you've got to look after your brakes, you've got to make sure that the engine has enough graft down the straight. And you've got to really take your time. Patience is a virtue in OK Senior. And so for Thomas Stolchemanis, he has to match Severukin's pace without overworking his tyres. Same for Coluccio, same for Pedersen and Turney. But Turney is working very hard here to continue on his way. In fact, I think that's now Turney having managed to close in a little bit on Coluccio and Pedersen. Pedersen is hustling Luigi Coluccio at the moment, trying to get through. But the man in 3rd place, we're watching him now, Luigi Coluccio. Don't forget, he is the vice world champion, so he knows how to be right up at the sharp end. And taking on his task for the Tony Kart factory team this year, he really wants to emulate his great hero, Marco Ardigo. And there's the move on the inside, though. Pedersen's going to upset the party. Pedersen gets into 3rd. A great run from the Swede so far. He's been awesome all weekend, and the Ward Racing driver looking to join his teammate on the podium. So Severukin goes through. Stolchemanis is 2.1 seconds back from Severukin. This is a problem now for Thomas Stolchemanis. Is he going to be too far back? Pedersen, Coluccio, Turney. The Tony Kart twins are going to take on Pedersen again now. They're all in Tony Kart chassis, of course, but Pedersen for the Ward Racing team running in front of the factory effort. This is a real challenge now for Coluccio and Turney. Are they going to make a gap big enough to get through as they slide in? Coluccio having a look at it. Got to be careful about timing now. So Coluccio Tucks in behind Pedersen. The gap is still 2.1 seconds between Sevrukin and Stolchamanis, but we are about to wait for a big moment. Here comes Coluccio on the inside. Pedersen tries to hang it out, and Turney's going to try and cut in from round the outside. Cuts back in on the switcheroo, and through go Coluccio and Turney, and now De Linhi's going to light him up, and they bang wheels. De Linhi and Pedersen drift wide. Pedersen's chances at the podium take a massive hammer blow as Freddie Slater skates past. Well, that was unfortunate for Oscar Pedersen. He tumbles all the way to 8th. And De Linhi goes down to 6th behind David Walter. They can't afford to spend too much time battling away because, of course, they're going to lose more ground. There goes Turney on the inside of Coluccio. So Joe Turney leads the cavalry to get after Sevrukin and Stolchamanis. So Artem Sevrukin still looking pretty good for the win up front for the Ward Racing team. Then the Latvian, Thomas Stolchamanis in 2nd, Joe Turney in 3rd, Luigi Coluccio is 4th, and David Walter in P5. De Linhi, Slater, Pedersen, Morgato down in 9th place as Max Popov picks up a warning flag. Sadly, that is going to come with a 5-second penalty attached to it, as it always is in this category. But with 25 points available for the final, Artem Sevrukin is looking good to leave here with the maximum tally of 46 points. Stolchamanis will be 2nd, and Turney, Coluccio and Morgato are set to be tied for 3rd place in the standings. As up the inside, that is David Walter. He gets through on Luigi Coluccio now. So the Koski Motorsport driver from Denmark now breaks firmly into the top 4. And it won't be too long before he's back on the toe of Joe Turney. But we are on the half-distance lap now. 10 laps will be complete out of 20, and Artem Sevrukin will be 2.6 seconds away. That is almost unthinkable for Thomas Stolchamanis to gain the ground on him. Meanwhile, there have been some great battles further back in the field, and not everybody has been the beneficiary of it. So it's turning into quite a thrilling battle out there. Behind the top 10, we have Valtonen in 11th from Tarpanen in 12th. Bollier is 13th from Sato, Chu and Alex Powell, who has dropped to 16th. And Enzo De Linhi has picked up a warning flag. That must be for his move on Oscar Pedersen. So Enzo De Linhi, who is now in P5, is going to drop to P10 behind Ian Eichmans as a result of the 5-second penalty that comes with the warning flag. So that is unfortunate for Enzo De Linhi. He is now going to be a long way down compared to where he currently is on the road. A real shame for the Frenchman. But out in front, with 10 laps done and 10 to go, Artem Sevrukin continues to reign supreme out in front. 3 seconds ahead of the Latvian Thomas Stolchamanis. It's been a fascinating battle for Artem Sevrukin. He's a lovely young lad. And great to see that the Ward Racing team have given him the tools to get the job done. Thomas Stolchamanis, 3 seconds behind him. Joe Turney is a second further back. He may still be able to get into 2nd place, but that is essentially all they're racing for further back. Sevrukin, Stolchamanis, Turney, Walter, Coluccio, De Linhi, Slater, Pedersen, Morgato and Ian Eichmans in the top 10. Although in reality, Enzo De Linhi is now actually behind Eichmans in the times because of the 5-second penalty he has received. Stolchamanis can do nothing about Sevrukin up front. 3.2 seconds is the deficit. He's doing the best he can, but the Ward Racing driver is just so far out in front. The big question is going to be, has he pushed the tyres too hard, too soon? Can Stolchamanis rein him back in again? Because there's a long way still to go in this race. 9 laps remaining. It's a massive lead, but it is achievable, as Joe Turney is proving to catch the man in front, because now Thomas Stolchamanis is being caught. That is Enzo De Linhi getting past Luigi Coluccio. So De Linhi has managed to get up into 5th position past the Italian. And Enzo De Linhi will come across the line in the top 5. Unfortunate that that penalty will drop him further back because he's making a really good show of it here. Slater, P7. Pedersen, P8. Morgato, P9. Eichmans, P10. Juho Valtonen is catching Eichmans, so that could end up dropping Enzo De Linhi out of the top 10. Incredibly, we are 12 laps into this 20-lap final, and all 36 drivers who started it are still going. Not a single retirement at the moment. Hopefully that will go all the way to the flag. But fantastic to see that everybody has kept themselves in the hunt, and they have battled all the way through. Sevrukin 3.4, and as I say that, Kiya Nakamura Berta is run out of road in the middle of the field. He rejoins but having lost about 5 kart positions. So some really aggressive racing in the middle of the field. But Severukin, Stolchamanis, and Simone Bianco has now got a warning flag. So once again, a 5-second penalty for the Italian, and that will drop him back. Simone Bianco is currently down in about, where is Bianco at the moment? He's in 33rd, so it's not really going to do him any favours at all, really. Some crazy race battles out there on the circuit here at Portimao, but this is the closest one. Up the front end of the field, Stolchamanis is falling into the clutches of Joe Turney. This is what the British driver couldn't do last month. Now he's going to be right on the tail of Stolchamanis, and he will hunt him down. He will go for the opportunity to get into second place. He's going to run out of time surely to catch Severukin, but as he makes his move on the inside, nothing Stolchamanis can do. Joe Turney is there, P2. Once again, the British driver in fantastic fashion makes his way through to the second position mark, and he might not be the only one on the move because there is David Walter. Stolchamanis knows he's there. Stolchamanis hoping to use the toe in behind Joe Turney to make his bid to come forward. David Walter, though, is looking for an opportunity. So Artem Severukin is out in front, 4 seconds away from the others. But now Turney, Stolchamanis and Walter will battle for second place. Here comes the move. Walter's going to try on Stolchamanis. He has to bail out of it. Blips the throttle. He's going to have to build up to the back of the bumper again. So David Walter not quite close enough to make the bid. Stolchamanis going well in third. But Joe Turney is trying to stretch away. The gap has opened up to 4.1 seconds. Almost certainly now Artem Severukin just a stone's throw away from the victory as he comes up the hill. And with 5 laps to go, Artem Severukin is going to have the length of the home straight over Joe Turney. That is absolutely sensational. And Joe Turney is going to have to really work hard now to get that gap down to Severukin. He's going to have to take a second per lap out of the Ward Racing driver up front. And even I don't see that one happening. David Walter all over the back of Stolchamanis. This is the third position. It could go to the Latvian or it could go to the Dane. Energy Course versus Koski Motorsport. David Walter looking particularly threatening. He was the fastest driver of all in time qualifying. As Stolchamanis, the back end starts to twitch. It's looking really strong. But Artem Severukin out in front. He is well clear. Joe Turney second, but this is for third. Stolchamanis versus Walter, who is going to get the opportunity now to reign supreme at the front. Oh, contact! Goodness me! They just tag wheels there, and Stolchamanis and Walter are struggling. Walter has lost a lot of momentum, and here comes De Linhi. Walter's in trouble. Walter's in trouble. He's going to peel into the pits. David Walter shakes his fist at Thomas Stolchamanis, and he is out of the race. Oh, fury for David Walter. His race is over. Clearly, when they came together, something has gone wrong. And now Thomas Stolchamanis in third position is going to fall into the clutches of Enzo De Linhi. But this man is absolutely dominant. Artem Severukin is just pulling away. 4.4 seconds clear, the Ward Racing driver. The team were not able to attend at Franciacorta last month, but they have returned. And wow, are they back with a vengeance. There is Stolchamanis still running in third position, although he seems to be struggling a little bit. I think the kart may be a little bit unsettled after that love tap with David Walter, but it was certainly a big enough bit of contact that it was enough to end David Walter's race. Stolchamanis continuing on in third. Not even entirely sure what actually happened between the two of them there. There was a bit of contact, but it didn't look like either driver was being particularly menacing or particularly overexertive. It just seemed like the two drivers just tagged wheels briefly. I don't think there was anything rotten about the driving standards. So Stolchamanis and De Linhi having a great battle there. Coluccio in 5th, Slater in 6th place from Pedersen, Morgato, Valtonen and Bollier. But Severukin, 4.2 seconds clear now from Turney, who is 1.6 clear of Stolchamanis. De Linhi, Coluccio and Slater. Pedersen, Morgato, Valtonen and Bollier in the top 10. From Tarpanen, who can only be in 11th at the moment. Eichmanns, Chu, Sato and Gabriel Gomez. 3 laps to go. Joe Turney has done everything he can to catch Artem Severukin, but it is not going to go his way if things are going to end like they are. Look at the gap. The Sevrukin has been able to pull on Joe Turney. That must be so demoralising, running in second place, knowing that this man is so far clear. But in the off-season, Artem Sevrukin really has been training hard. He's been working in with the Ward Racing team. They are a big, big family. And they have been supporting his quest forward. They have been making good steps. Now, this is interesting because we've got Stoltjamanis being caught by Enzo De Linhi. And don't forget that De Linhi actually has a penalty coming his way at the end of the race because he's got a warning flag. So De Linhi is going to try and take on Stoltjamanis. If I'm Coluccio, Slater or Pedersen, I'm going to keep pushing now because you never know. Oh, late lunge from De Linhi. He makes the move on Stoltjamanis and he gets through into third position. The last lap board comes out and Artem Sevrukin goes into it with Joe Turney about 4 seconds back. He is chipping away at the lead now from Sevrukin, but it's not going to be enough. De Linhi will come home third on the road, but with the warning flag going his way, which he cannot contest or appeal, I'm afraid he is going to have a 5-second penalty, which should give Stoltjamanis back third position. And there isn't really a lot that the Frenchman can do about it. So Sevrukin, Turney, and even though Enzo De Linhi is currently third on the road, the warning flag from earlier on does come with a 5-second penalty, so Stoltjamanis will pick up third away from him again. But Artem Sevrukin, what a commanding job it has been from the Ward Racing driver. The Scandinavian team have returned to the Champions of the Future, and they have done so in victorious fashion with Artem Sevrukin, a flawless drive in the final. He comes home. Artem Sevrukin wins in the Champions of the Future Euro Series final here at Portimao. Second for Joe Turney, third over the line for Enzo De Linhi, ahead of Stoltjamanis and Coluccio. But Artem Sevrukin, triumphant. A great race from the young man and the whole Ward Racing team. What a great performance from Artem Sevrukin. He really was exceptional today. Nobody could catch him. This was very much a similar race drive. Joe Turney acknowledges Artem Sevrukin's achievement as he goes by. And a thumbs up too from his fellow colleagues. There is a lot of sportsmanship in this world of karting. And all the other drivers know just how good Artem Sevrukin has been up front. They all seem to wish him congratulations. A great performance from the youngster. And the Ward Racing team come back in victorious fashion. I'm sure that Joachim Ward and the whole team will be absolutely euphoric as Artem Sevrukin claims it all after an absolutely perfect drive. He is sliding, enjoying himself. Artem Sevrukin takes the win from Joe Turney. Enzo De Linhi third on the road. Thomas Stoltjamanis, Luigi Coluccio, Freddie Slater in pursuit with Oscar Pedersen, Juho Valtonen, Marlo Bollier and Tuukka Tarponen rounding out the top 10. Matthias Morgato in front of Ian Eichmans from Rentaro Sato and Jan Pu Chu. Adrian Maliero in front of Alex Powell. Gabriel Gomez for the CRG team and Dion Gauda in 18th place. Behind them was Kian Nakamura Berta and then Maxim Rem from Christian Bertucca and Matthias Ferreira, Luca Samalisto and Rashid Aldeheri. Caspian Hagman in 25th from Hiyu Yamakoshi and Keanu Alazari. Yvan David ahead of Maxim Orlov with Simone Bianco, Karol Pazovic, Zachary David and Max Popov ahead of Nicolo Kuman. The two retirements, David Walter and Arthur Rojon. Well, a fabulous performance from Artem Sevrukin. He really does deserve the plaudits for this one. He has put in an exceptional amount of work this weekend, right from the Thursday practice. He looked fast all the way through. And say what you like about Artem Sevrukin, he utterly deserves this race victory. A great job from the Ward Racing driver. He must be absolutely exhausted after that. He made it look so easy. He's a very mild-mannered man. He doesn't get particularly excitable. He just takes his moments when he can. But that's the first win of the season for Ward Racing and for Artem Sevrukin. He can be very, very happy about it indeed. Next up, the OK Senior Podium, where Artem Sevrukin can soak up the glory after a phenomenal weekend for him and the Ward Racing team. So we get to greet the drivers now to the podium after a fantastic OK Senior final. It really has been an exceptional drive from our racers, and now they get their moment of glory. In third position, representing France and Paralin Motorsport, Enzo De Linhi. A fabulous performance and a great drive to third position. In second place, representing the United Kingdom and Tony Kart Racing, Joe Turney. A great fight for Joe Turney, but your race winner at the Champions of the Future Euro Series here in Portimao, representing the Ward Racing team, Artem Sevrukin. An amazing race, and to collect the winning trophy for the winning team manager, please welcome Rebecca Ward. An excellent result for the team. They have made a fantastic race of it and an absolutely terrific performance. So there we are, our three drivers with their trophies. You can now hold your trophies aloft above your head for the winning team picture, guys. Raise the trophies high. There we go, ladies and gentlemen, your OK Senior Podium. An excellent performance from Artem Sevrukin, Joe Turney and Enzo De Linhi. They already have the bottles there, so I'm sure they will want to enjoy the moment. Rebecca Ward getting a very sneaky exit as it's time to get busy with a fizzy! An excellent race at Portimao here in the OK Senior category. Brilliant stuff. I'm going to come in and grab a word with our race winner. A truly fantastic performance. Artem, come and join me. My goodness. So, Artem Sevrukin, what a brilliant battle that was. All the way through the weekend, you were fast from the beginning of time qualifying and managed to go through all the races very consistently. How has it been able to manage it?
I just made a good qualifying, and then was stable in the heats, then won the pre-final and the final.
It seems that the team, you've managed to come up with a really good package. Can you sustain this as we go to Zuelda? Is this going to be the way all through the year?
I think yes.
And of course, in 2 weeks' time, we have the European Championships. So you must be very confident for that now.
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Small on words, but big on speed. Ladies and gentlemen, Artem Sevrukin.